From the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Only on 2, chaos and confusion at today's LA Police Commission, moments after someone throws a powdery substance at Chief Beck.
The room had to be cleared and police detained 2 women after that wild scene. CBS 2's Dave Lopez was at that meeting when it happened.
He's live at police headquarters with details on what led up to it. Dave.
Well, this was quite a meeting. There had been some problems with the police commission at meetings before, being disrupted. Actually had to stop the meetings and clear the room, but this one went over the top. What you're about to see was taken by the Channel 35 cameras. That's a city-owned television station. They record all of the police commission meetings. Our cameras were there as well, but this is what Channel 35 captured right when it happened.
Next time, I ain't scared. Let's go. Say, man, shut up. You touch me at home. I swear to God.
This is when it happened. A substance believed to be human ashes dumped on Charlie Beck at today's police commission meeting.
I ain't scared.
We have slowed it down so you can see the white powdery substance thrown all over the chief as he was sitting there.
I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting.
I am. That's my Keisha.
Officer.
She's going to stay with you.
Take her into custody.
You going to take her in custody?
That's the voice of Chief Beck saying, take her into custody, and she was. Later identified as Sheila Hines, who is the aunt of Waukesha Wilson, who 2 years ago died while in police custody. It was ruled a suicide and has been very controversial. And members of her family and sources have told me that what was thrown on the chief was, in fact, the ashes of Miss Wilson.
Very calm voice. He never got up. He never lunged. He never made a move, really.
No, Chief Beck doesn't need to do that. He's got a security detail, and they immediately took action.
I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting.
It was at that time when most people on the commission realized that the chief had been hit with something. One commissioner who did not want to go on camera told me, clearly, it looked like ashes to me. A second woman, Melina Abdullah, was also arrested and taken into custody. And Ms. Hines, I am told, has been booked for battery on a police officer, Chief Beck. I was also told this is the first time in the history of the police commission that a meeting has been canceled because someone was arrested for battery on the police chief.
A piece of paper was dropped on the table. That's it.
But nothing. But there were no. I mean, they weren't the ashes of your daughter.
I didn't see any ash. I didn't see nothing come out the paper.
The mother of Miss Wilson denying that her sister threw anything on the chief. But the hazmat team clearly took a substance out of the room and off the chief's suit. And lab tests will determine what exactly was it that was thrown on the chief. I am told that some of that substance got on the face of the chief. He was medically looked at, checked out, and given a clearance. He's just fine. As for the 2 women who were taken into custody, they will be charged with misdemeanors, I am told. They've been in behind bars practically all day long, but should be released sometime tonight. Back to the studio.
All right, thank you, Dave. Breaking news now. Former California Governor George Deukmejian has died. The LA Times reports he died today at his Long Beach home at the age of 89. He served 2 terms from 1983 until 1991. He was a Republican and the only California governor of Armenian descent. He also served as Attorney General. George Deukmejian is dead at the age of 89.
More breaking news, this time in the Stormy Daniels saga. The porn actress's lawyer, Michael Avenatti, just released documents that he says show a Russian oligarch made $500,000 in payments to President Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. He says the payments were made by Victor Vekselenberg from January of August of last year, as the Russia investigation was heating up. And CNN reports special counsel Robert Mueller has questioned him about the same payments. The reason for the payments is unclear. So far, lawyers for the president and Cohen have not commented.
The FBI served several search warrants this morning in Atlanta when the mayor was led away in handcuffs. City officials confirmed agents raided City Hall and the mayor's home. That's Mayor Rich Kerr in handcuffs. The FBI also raided a business called the Jet Room. They also won't say what agents were looking for, but the U.S. Attorney's Office confirmed the IRS investigators and the San Bernardino DA's office were also involved in the raid. A city statement read in part, the city is unaware of the nature of the FBI's investigation. Nevertheless, the city remains prepared to cooperate with any investigation being conducted. The City Council wants to assure the public that the city will continue to focus its efforts on providing the services that residents and businesses expect.
The hunt is on for 4 bandits who hit a popular business at Little Saigon Plaza in Westminster.
Now, they stole a gaming machine from a cafe on the 9800 block of Bolsa Avenue. And CBS 2's Orange County reporter Michelle Gili is there live with more information. Michelle.
That's right. There is a new video with a different angle of these 4 guys. And let's show you first the cafe where this all happened. They hit around 9:45 last night in Little Saigon at a cafe popular for people who love to drink coffee, play dominoes, and other games. It is called Sin To, hidden down an alley off the beaten path for sure. Police say the brazen thieves, all wearing hoods, came for a gaming machine, rushed in, and then wheeled it out. This is them on video hiding outside and then going in. The cafe was open at the time. The employee tells me they took a popular gambling machine called Fishes. Players put bills inside of the machine and then play that game. As we said, as you can see on the video, they took the machine out. It has wheels on it. The 4 of them went in and wheeled the game out. Unclear exactly how much money was inside of that machine. And police tonight looking for these 4 guys. That's the latest live in Westminster. I'm Michelle Gili. Back to you.
Thanks, Michelle. An early morning earthquake shakes people awake and even scares pets in the Inland Empire. The 4.5 magnitude quake was centered 6 miles south of Mount San Gorgonio and 7 miles north of Cabazon in Riverside County. Security camera video captured this morning's earthquake, shaking wind chimes outside a Yucaipa home. Inside, the homeowner's cats scurried about after feeling the house sway. Experts from the USGS say we're not out of the woods just yet.
With any earthquake, the probability of a larger earthquake does increase. We estimate that there's a 1 to 2% chance in the next week of having an event larger than today's magnitude 4.5.
At least 50 aftershocks follow. The strongest quake was a 3.2 magnitude.
2 new cracks are spewing lava and toxic gas on Hawaii's Big Island, where the Kilauea volcano has destroyed at least 35 buildings. More than 1,700 residents have been evacuated. New video shows the fiery wrath of Kilauea bearing down on the neighborhood of Leilani Estates. Nothing in the lava's path was spared. It consumed telephone poles, trees, and homes, all destroyed as the once lush landscape now looks more like a blackened moonscape.
It was nice and green. Everything was green. Look at it now. It's all dead, dying.
I was going to raise my daughters here, but doesn't look like it's going to turn out to be the scenario we hoped.
And check out this video from the U.S. Geological Survey and Hawaii Volcano Observatory. It's a lava lake inside the volcano's crater. President Trump delivered his much-anticipated decision on the Iran accord.
Yes, the U.S. will walk away from the international agreement that prevents Iran from producing a nuclear bomb.
CBS 2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here with reaction. Dave.
It's not a surprise in the sense that the president said all along this was what he was going to do, but there could be serious repercussions. British, French, and German leaders all tried to persuade the U.S. to stay in the deal with recent trips to the White House to lobby President Trump. But in the end, President Trump is making good on a campaign promise and tearing up the deal.
The fact is, this was a horrible, one-sided deal that should have never, ever been made.
The president laid out some of the reasons he's walking away from the 2015 agreement the U.S. and other world powers brokered with Iran.
Not only does the deal fail to halt Iran's nuclear ambitions, but it also fails to address the regime's development of ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear warheads.
The U.S. is reimposing punishing sanctions that were waived because Iran has been complying with the deal.
The Iran deal is defective at its core. The world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons.
The president declared he had definitive proof that Iran had violated the agreement, which was designed to freeze Iran's nuclear weapons development. But he did not produce any such proof during his remarks. French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted the 3 European allies regret the U.S. decision, while Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised the move.
Israel thanks President Trump for his courageous leadership, his commitment to confront the terrorist regime in Tehran.
President Obama issued a statement calling this administration's decision a serious mistake. His Secretary of State, John Kerry, fought hard to save the deal since he led the U.S. effort to reach the agreement in the first place.
The world is safer with this agreement. Israel is safer with this agreement.
The Iranian president said his country will continue to work with other nations in the agreement, but stands ready to resume nuclear activity. Now, while President Trump indicated the sanctions will resume immediately, the U.S. Treasury is allowing a grace period for businesses to wind down their ties to Iran. At his briefing on Iran, President Trump also announced that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was heading to North Korea to finalize details of that planned summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. They will try to lay the groundwork for a deal to denuclearize the Korean peninsula, just as the U.S. pulls out of its nuclear deal with Iran. So, interesting contrast, see, between the way these two situations are being handled, I think.
Yes, and we'll see how that plays out, Dave Bryan. And
absolutely.
as you mentioned last night at 11 p.m., New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman has resigned just hours after an article in The New Yorker outlined abuse allegations from 4 women he dated.
The woman claims Schneiderman was physically and emotionally abusive. One accuser told the magazine he slapped her open-handed across the face and held her down and choked her. Another said he would slap her, choke her, and then spit on her. Ronan Farrow wrote the article.
Schneiderman.
These women describe, and they produced these fact patterns independently. You know, these are not women who are talking to each other in almost all cases. Bear in mind, you know, this is an individual who was a very public champion of women's rights, who in fact introduced anti-choking legislation, and he was, according to multiple women in this story, choking them.
Well, Schneiderman has been a champion of the Me Too movement and filed a civil rights lawsuit against Harvey Weinstein and his company after the Hollywood mogul was accused of sexual misconduct. The 63-year-old Democrat denies the allegations and claims he engaged in role-playing and other consensual sexual activity.
If you feel you're constantly getting robocalls, you're not alone.
No, the record number of calls from telemarketers made just last month.
Plus, smash and grab. 2 thieves break into a beauty store and make off with thousands of dollars in perfume. How technology led police right to the culprits.
Also, how the fashion industry is finally catching up to the reality. Women come in all shapes and sizes.
And the weather is getting warmer, and so is the potential for fires. CAL FIRE is getting ready, and they're asking homeowners to be prepared.
Hi, everybody. I'm Garth Kemp. Yep, it was a warm one today. We have another one on tap, and then a cool down. We'll tell you all about it coming up.